We have some, I would say it's breaking news or it's new news
I would agree.
that's expanding the Swalwell scandal
That's
involving his sweaty, fidgety colleague and a sidekick, somebody who strangely is a senator. I was shocked. I'd forgotten that he'd gotten elected when I saw him on television last night.
yeah.
I thought he was some kind of a local political boss or a congressman. Well, he was a congressman. Then
Right.
he became a senator under the radar.
Right.
And now the question is, was he Swalwell's sidekick? Is this Don Giovanni and Leporello, the Lone Ranger and Tano? I don't know.
Well, Mayor, we're learning tonight, and again, this is just coming across the wires, as they say, a bombshell report. We're going to get to the bottom of this. A bombshell report has come out. Again, there's multiple reports coming out today.
Well, the one I'm referring to has to do with Diego's wedding and the fact that you may have paid for it. You, meaning the taxpayer, who's paying taxes tonight.
This is from the Daily Mail. The Daily Mail is reporting tonight
That's an English newspaper and a reliable one, although prone to look for scandals.
Right. Eric Swalwell and Ruben Gallego were spent. So this is just Gallego. Gallego spent nearly $2,000 of campaign funds at the luxurious Fairmont El San Juan in Puerto Rico on June 7th, 2021. This is the venue he was married at the same day. Swalwell spent $1,500 in campaign funds at the Hyatt Regency, right down the road on the same day.
He must have met some California voters, Ted, and he was campaigning, giving out literature, stuff like that.
So again, we're gonna put up the headline here. This is from the Daily Mail, and we will follow this closely. But again, this might explain, Mayor,
why he was sweating like crazy last night.
How nervous did he look?
Nervous. He looked like a little trapped rat.
Yeah, he really did. We'll play some of that. Yeah, all right, we'll play that. We had it up yesterday.
You were on the beach. I wasn't, but I was just on the beach. I was on the beach like this. I was doing this.
Right.
Did I see
Swalwell have called you his best friend? You have never asked him about any of the rumors that have been swirling around Democratic politics of his inappropriate behavior?
I did. Look, we knew each other differently from everyone else. My family and his family were as close as it gets. Our kids were in baseball camp together. You know, we had dinner together as a family.
Every one of these things would indicate that he knew him intimately.
When there was rumors going around a couple weeks ago.
Does he have a lawyer?
Not of the folks in whatever in San Francisco Chronicle.
Politician,
I did
big mouth
ask
that
him,
talks himself into
and
jail.
he lied to me. He knew that I just came off a very, very hard campaign for 2 years, where they lied about me and my family for 2 years. He manipulated me to have the same sentiment that I was having back in the day and used as an opportunity to move me to defend him.
How did you not know about the allegations? So considering you chaired his presidential campaign, wouldn't some of this have come up? Some of those allegations predated when he ran for office.
Again, this man led a double life. He lied to us. He lied to his family, lied to his constituents. Some of the most powerful people in this country, you know, even before he ran, he was trusted with some positions that normally we would never think someone like this could do if they're leading that double life. And again, I was manipulated, I was lied to, and everyone else was too.
Well, he is right about Eric Swalwell lying to everybody all the time, right?
was he really lying to the Democratic Party? Or was he carrying out their conspiracy to entrap Donald Trump?
Right.
Was he lying to Hillary Clinton when he said that Russian collusion was absolutely correct and Trump was guilty of it long after the FBI had found that it wasn't? Was he lying to everyone when he voted for impeachment of Trump when he knew that charges were false?
Right.
All the other Democrats knew that they were false too.
Right.
And they knew he was a phony.
Right.
Look, it's hard to say who was the biggest liar in that situation. Hillary, I mean, paid the money and should now be sitting in the penitentiary if we had a fair system of justice. But the two of them were, two meaning Shifty Schiff and him, were the two primary liars. I mean, they lied every place. I mean, you couldn't put it on television without hearing him lie. Now, I was particularly sensitive to it because I was representing the president at the time. And I figured what he was doing is trying to intimidate the Senate. They understood before the president's defense understood that this was a political case, not a legal case. To some extent, originally it was approached as a straight out legal case. President was innocent. We were going to prove it like a grand jury. Well, it wasn't a grand jury. The grand jury was the House. They controlled the House. We were going to lose the grand jury. We could have, well, maybe not now, but we could have gotten the Pope to testify for him, and we would have lost with the Democrats. The question was, we'd win in the Senate because we controlled the Senate. Or did we control the Senate? Now, this guy here didn't believe that. I didn't have any confidence in, I will not tell you how many of those senators. I considered they'd go with the wind. And the wind at one point, when I came in as a lawyer, was about 38%, about 38% approval, or about 38% believed him, and well over 50% didn't. By the time we were finished, we got it positive by a little bit, a point or two. Oh, my goal was to get it at close to 50-50. At close to 50-50, the Republicans would not walk out on him. The cowardly Republicans, who often walk out on him now, would not have walked out on him. Would have walked out on him if he had remained underwater in terms of approval, disapproval. It had nothing to do with the facts. It has nothing to do with the law. It has nothing to do with decency. It has nothing to do with honor. It has nothing to do with the good of the United States of America. God, we'd be in great shape if that was the case. These bastards can't stay in while people are not being able to feed their families, and they go on vacations, the Republican ones and the Democratic ones. And why the two Republican leaders let them go out? Well, you go ask them. And why are they leaders of the Republican Party if they let them go out getting money, getting paid when TSA workers can't buy food? And the people in my party do it just as much as the people in that Communist Party do it. We may not be systemically corrupt, but like them, thank God. But we sure have our weaklings. Whoa. Okay. Back to the war. It is now in a, today was probably, I'm going to say, we could look back, the quietest day of the war that we've had since the war started. Oh, wow. I can't find any shooting.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Put Lebanon aside. Even Lebanon is quieter than it's been. There was some fighting in Lebanon, minor described as, but also continuous talks in Washington under the direction of the American ambassador to Lebanon. I assume Mike Huckabee, the American ambassador to Israel, the Israelis and the Lebanese, as well as Secretary Rubio and his staff. And yesterday they spoke back and forth all day in person. Today it continued. Today's continuation showed manifestations on the battlefield with about the quietest day in about 3 weeks. Now we go to the larger war, to some extent disconnected, really. The Hamas war is one thing, really. The war with Hezbollah is another thing, really. Yes, they're extensions of the reign of terror, but you almost have to see them in segments. They have different strategies. They have different purposes. They may very well have different ends. So let's get to the main event. The main event, what you're looking at now, is the group that is negotiating on Lebanon and Israel, which I think is going to conclude successfully. The problem here has been Lebanon, yes, has been a victim, but it's been it's too often a willing victim of the Muslim extremists. and this has been purely religious. I mean, they have done a 3/4 genocide of the Christians in Lebanon. The Muslims have, as we Christians have sat back and done nothing, for which we're going to have to answer at some point. If it does mean something that all that evil needs to succeed is for good men to say nothing. If that is really true, and we really recognize that, we've committed an awful sin by watching Lebanon get destroyed by extremist followers of Allah Akbar, Allah, and Muhammad, who killed many Jews, but their real extermination in the last 20 years in Lebanon has been the Christian community of Lebanon, which used to be very, very vital, very big, very important, and a big part of the political leadership. And they were determined to destroy it. Now, the UN prohibited that 20 years ago. The UN sent in troops. They were useless. If anything, they conspired with the Muslim murderers. And the Lebanese government bent over backwards to let the Lebanese murderers do whatever they wanted. Now, the Lebanese government has, for a while, realized that they may not exist if they keep it up. And they are trying to stop Hezbollah. And it is true. With all that history, they don't have the capability of doing it themselves. And the UN doesn't have the capability of doing anything itself, even paying its parking tickets in New York, or stopping its delegates from raping their children. So the UN, which is the organization we should get out of before NATO, is useless. So if they're trying to put a structure together, and I think Lebanon is now seriously engaged in a constructive effort to get rid of Hezbollah. If you get rid of Hezbollah, which is now virtually neutered, you have gotten rid of Iran's ace in the hole. That was the group that was supposed to prevent this. Well, they played no role. The Hamas, with all of the interference from Biden in trying to really destroy them, and even the interference of the State Department now, which gets overridden by the special relationship between Trump and Bibi. As long as Bibi is drawing breath, he's going to eliminate Hamas to save his people. Why is he doing that? Because Hamas is dedicated to destroying the Jewish people from the day they're born. So are the Palestinians. It wasn't the Grand Mufti of Hamas that was Hitler's best friend. It was the Grand Mufti of Palestine that was his best friend. These are incompetent, ignorant, as President says, most of them very low, if not low IQ, low intelligence, low intellect, low education individuals and animals. They're the people who went in and killed babies and raped young girls in front of their parents, and went ahead and went after the most pacifist of the Israelis. All of that left out by the pro-Islamic terrorist Mohammed-loving press. So settling that war, bringing Lebanon back into the fold as a government, making it peaceful, letting it repopulate as a diverse religious country, which by nature it is. It was, although never majority, I don't think, Christian, it was a very strong Christian community. The Lebanese Catholics, some of whom have made their way to the United States, are some of the strongest Christians in the world. What few of them are left. Danny Thomas was a Lebanese Catholic. Now the whole hospital that has saved so many children comes out of his Lebanese Catholicism, his beautiful religion, and the beautiful man that he was. I know many Lebanese, Catholic and non. The Lebanese people are beautiful people. And Hezbollah are not necessarily Lebanese. Hezbollah are trained directly by Iran. Hamas, they've infiltrated. In fact, they were opposed to Hamas originally. Iran was. Hamas was Sunni, they're Shia. Hate each other, except they hate Jews and Christians and Americans more than they hate each other. Their main proxies, obviously, they've got about 20, but the three that meant anything in order of importance and strength was Hamas least powerful, Houthis second most powerful, Hezbollah, like the SS. I can go get you stories 3 years ago how the SS made Israel's chance in a one-on-one war with Iran very, very difficult. Gee, did it take 12 days? I don't know, Ted. It took 12 days, didn't it? Yeah, if they went any further, there'd be no Iran left.
12 days.
Yeah, I mean, 12 days to totally degrade them to a meaningless power. Right. Another 12 days, and we just cut across it off the map. So now we're going to start negotiations again, say the Pakistanis, the Egyptians, and the Turks. Well, that's 2-1 against us. Do not be fooled by the almost universal fawning over Erdogan. Now, he is not the Ayatollah, nor is Xi Jinping, nor is Putin. Ayatollah is in a special category of being a deranged human being who would destroy the world and let himself be destroyed as part of it. That is why Ronald Reagan said he is the kind of person for which mutually assured destruction is an immoral solution, because mutually assured destruction depends on the rationality of the people holding the button. Now, you can say what you want about Putin. You can say what you want about Xi Jinping, and there's nobody that says more about them than I do. But they are not irrational. By that, I mean, when I say irrational, let's say we should be even more refined than that, more detailed. They are not irrational on their own life and death. They want to die. Do they want their people to die? Not so many as they lose power, but enough so they can keep control. I mean, both of them are masters of killing their own people. There's no question that Xi Jinping has killed, like in the tradition of Mao Zedong, more Chinese than anybody else, unless you look at the COVID as a deliberate Chinese attempt to destroy us. I don't. I see it as a Chinese opportunity they took to hurt us, but I don't see it as a deliberate plan to destroy us. Could I be wrong? I could. Could I be wrong about both? No. I'm not wrong about the first, that the Chinese were. That the Chinese grasped the opportunity to do maximum damage on the West when they found out that they had accidentally released a deadly virus that they were probably developing for the purpose of biological warfare, but they weren't ready to use it yet. I knew Fauci is one of the major criminals in modern American history that has escaped justice when he very blithely said, well, the Chinese would never do this. They would never want to kill their own people. Hey, you little slob. Who has killed more of their own people than any other group? The Red Chinese. The Nazis didn't kill anywhere near as many Germans as the Red Chinese have killed Chinese. The Ayatollah, okay. Ayatollah, somebody could do their PhD thesis on the following. Per capita, have the two Ayatollahs killed more of their own people than the succession of homicidal Red Chinese dictators? Per capita, the gross number for China will be pushing 100 million. I mean, if it was 100 million, you'd take out, there'd be nobody in Iran. Iran is about 80 million, I think. China is 90 million, okay. So let's say it's 100 million. So China is 12 times bigger. 12 times. Right? So if you killed, I'm not going to do it off the top of my head because I'll come up with the wrong answer. I'm going to do it on a piece of paper with some facts on the low and high estimates of how many Iranians were killed under the Ayatollah and how many Chinese have been killed under Red China. And then we'll look at the population and we'll do it per capita like we do on murder, because the murder statistic just out plain doesn't tell you your chance of being killed. So in a city like New York, there's always going to be a lot more murders than, let's say, a city like Boston. Boston is 1/10 the size of New York. So the numbers are going to differ. Or Washington, D.C. I mean, Washington, D.C., when the president sent the troops in, had a 6 times greater murder rate than New York City. Although New York City had more murders. Hope it doesn't confuse you. But we'll straighten it out when that's our issue to look at. Right now, what we're looking at is the side war that is critical for the survival of the Israeli people. Not as critical for the survival of the world. The main war is critical for the survival of the world. And if you don't recognize it, you're not qualified to be a world leader. If you don't recognize that the movement in Iran, which has lasted for 47 years, is a threat to the survival of the world if it becomes nuclear, you have not observed this war correctly and the irrational, suicidal actions that they've taken. The Ayatollah had himself killed. Now the one remaining, if he is remaining, doesn't have legs, doesn't have a face. Does he have a mind? And if he does, I mean, I just don't know why. If he believes, he just doesn't see, I don't think they commit suicide. I think it might be that under Muslim law, suicide, like under Christian law, is illegal. But to treat anything about the Muslim religion as moral until you reject Muhammad and Allah is going to lead you up a terrible foxhole. It'll lead you into a terrible foxhole. Got to start with the recognition of the fact that Muhammad's story is a complete, absolute, insane fiction from an insane man. Not just epileptic, insane. He was a maniacal killer, and he was a perverted human being sexually. Such people cannot start moral movements. And it is at the core, it's at the core of the problem of war fomented by Muslim movements now since 680. Pope Leo has opened a theological argument with the President of the United States in which the President has as much theological scholarship behind him, if not more than the Pope. And from the Roman Catholic Church that the Pope is in charge of, people believe infallibly. He is, but narrowly infallibly. When you come back, I'll explain to you what narrowly infallibly means.
And tonight we'll have a very special guest, but we are still waiting to hear.
And we will interrupt for this special guest. U.S. Army Major Scott Smiley paid a high price serving our nation. Scott was leading his platoon in Iraq when a blast sent shrapnel through his eyes, leaving him blind and temporarily paralyzed. Scott would become the first blind active duty military officer before medically retiring years later. Thanks to friends like you, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave Scott and his family a mortgage-free, specially adapted smart home. Show your support for America's heroes now. Donate 11.
Are you ready for some action?
I'm ready for action.
Get the Elite TV plan only through the portal, 218 channels, and it's only $69.95 a month,
Wow.
including your free portal.
That's cheaper than everyone else.
Your favorite sports, movies, news,
Wow.
even daytime dramas. We're talking about ESPN, OAN, Newsmax,
Wow.
channels you can't get anymore in certain areas.
Compared to the competition, this is a way better deal.
Endless selection. Not to mention all the free music channels. There's over 700 premium and classic movies all ready to go.
Wow.
Plus, they got catch-up TV that allows you to go back and watch what you've missed or want to watch again. Cut your cable in half and get twice as much for free.
Way more channels for half the cost.
After the first year, the subscription then drops to $57.95 monthly,
Wow.
where you change or upgrade anytime. Go to QUXNow.com and get yours today. Use promo code Rudy. Act fast.
These
deals.
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because we like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans, no Robusto, all Arabica. They're gonna go into the roaster and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee.
U.S. Army Major Scott Smiley paid.
Are you ready for some action?
I'm ready for action.
Get the Elite TV plan only through the portal, 218 channels, and it's only $69.95 a month,
Wow.
including your free portal.
That's cheaper than everyone else.
Your favorite sports, movies, news,
Wow.
even daytime dramas. We're talking about ESPN, OAN, Newsmax,
Wow.
channels you can't get anymore in certain areas.
Compared to the competition, this is a way better deal.
Endless selection. Not to mention all the free music channels. There's over 700 premium and classic movies all ready to go.
Wow.
Plus, they got catch-up TV that allows you to go back and watch what you've missed or want to watch again. Cut your cable in half and get twice as much for free.
Way more channels for half the cost.
After the first year, the subscription then drops to $57.95 monthly,
Wow.
where you change or upgrade anytime. Go to QUXNow.com and get yours today. Use promo code Rudy. Act fast. These deals are selling out.
Well, the debate that I'm talking about is a debate that involves these volumes that you see here that I've been pouring through in the middle of this debate. This is the Summa Theologica. You might want to see the whole thing here. It's not because it's in several volumes, and in these volumes, Thomas Aquinas, the great theologian of the Catholic Church and of Christianity, lays out the doctrines of war, just war. Originally, these go back, these theories go back about 400 to 500 years to St. Augustine, the Bishop of Hippo in Africa, who was also a Roman Catholic saint and a saint of the Christian church overall, meaning he's a saint within the Orthodox Church, he's a saint within the Episcopal Church, he's a saint in all of the what one would call establishment Christian churches. I know evangelical pastors who have these volumes, and we've had any number of learned discussions on Thomas, and even more that have Augustine. So both of them are in agreement, not on everything, but they're in agreement on the doctrine of a just war. Let me see. if I can analyze this, and let me use his words. Well, we can find that later. Let's use his words as best as we can. This is basically in Theological, second book, second part, question 40 on war. And he addresses the question, is it sinful always, as Pope Francis said several years ago, and Pope Leo essentially reiterated, although not a little cuter. He said, I cannot, and I'm going to have to find I cannot. Did he say, let's get his exact words on Palm Sunday, Ted. He may have said conceive of. Francis was a little more definitive. There cannot be would completely take this on. But in any event, here's Thomas Aquinas' theory of just war, found in the Summa. Okay. And he addresses a question. Now, remember, Thomas was a Aristotelian philosopher and a Christian scholar, of the monk variety, although not sequestered, uniformly thought of as the greatest genius in the Christian religion. Others might say Augustine, but Thomas was much more prolific, and like an Aristotelian, like Aristotle, unlike Plato, let's say, Augustine be more like Plato. Plato wrote these very, very interesting drama-like dialogues with Socrates. Augustine wrote many, many interesting books. The Confessions of St. Augustine as a bestseller. It's a pretty raunchy book in some ways. Thomas was a very, very well organized theologian. This is organized like somebody who would program a computer. So I mean, like this is section 2, and the second part of section 2, question 40 on war. And he asks a question: is it always sinful to wage war? He concludes that war is not inherently sinful and can be morally justified under certain circumstances. He builds on earlier thinkers, especially Thomas Augustine of Hippo, systematizing Christian thought on the ethics of war within a framework of natural law, justice, and charity. His approach counters absolute pacifism, a very strict reading of turn the other cheek, while condemning wars driven by greed, cruelty, or vengeance. He views a just war as a means to restore peace and punish injustice. What does that sound like? Isn't that what Trump is doing? Isn't that what he's doing, Pope, and you're condemning him? Is this really fair because you just don't like him and because you were influenced tremendously by that ridiculously sick theology in South America that is pro-communist? And do you realize that these people you're throwing in with, you're putting at risk Christendom? Your guys like Francis were doing it in Latin America with the theology they were accepting, which ignored the fact that it was Marxism, and their ultimate goal, if they could suck you in because you're so damn naive, which is what Aquinas is trying to stop you from being naive, is to destroy you Christians, us Christians. This other group, the Muslim literalists, have been vowing to destroy us for 1,600 years. They have so often taken advantage of naive Christians and Jews. It's sick. It's why we thought it ended with Hitler when he told us he was going to destroy us and we stood up to him. Well, his best allies were the Grand Muftis and the Arabians and the Muslims, who thought the final solution was a great idea. They've been hoping for it for 1,400 years before that. Aquinas builds on earlier thinkers like Augustine and a whole line of church fathers. Now, the three core principles: auctoritas principis, legitimate authority. Is it a sovereign, a prince or ruler, responsible for the common good of a city, kingdom, or province? President of the United States, responsible for the most powerful nation on earth. Private individuals cannot declare war, which is what makes terrorism contrary to church law. As they lack the public responsibility and cannot seek redress through superiors or courts, the sovereign acts like a minister of God in defending the community against external threats, like a bomb, like taking Americans hostages, like killing American Marines, like setting up thousands of IEDs by a man named Soleimani, who was Iranian and part of this Islamic insanity, who killed thousands of Americans, many of whose families are still suffering from their son or daughter not coming back. I have to give you more, Pope? Well, he certainly, President Trump certainly qualifies under the number one principle of jus ad bellum, just war, the authoritas principis argument, legitimate authority. Pope, I'm deliberately using the Latin because people say you're going to bring the Latin Mass back. Your predecessor inadvertently almost all had us put in jail here in America by the Attorney General, the anti-Catholic Attorney General. Second principle, causa justis, just cause. There must be a grave wrong committed by the opposing side that deserve punishment. Pope Leo, are we going to argue over Iran has for 47 years committed serial grave wrongs? The little girl with the hair. I bring you my red book with 20,000 Iranians killed in 1 year. All their pictures, probably with 50,000. I got pictures of 20. You know how many of them were raped before they were killed for sport? This includes avenging injuries, such as when a nation refuses to make amends for wrongs done by its subjects, or to restore what it has unjustly seized. The attacked party must deserve it on account of some fault. Aquinas, quoting Augustine, describes a just war as one that avenges wrongs. How about the taking of 55 hostages, Your Holiness? They, like you, many of them were Americans. Does that count? I don't know. The attacked party must deserve it on account of some fault. Aquinas, quoting Augustine, describes a just war as one that avenges wrongs, taking the American hostages for a year and a half and torturing them, killing the Marines for no reason in a country that wasn't yours, which would be an act of terrorism, killing the Jewish people in Argentina as an act of terrorism, and interfering in the Iraq war for the purpose of killing our American boys and girls. Are we allowed there to follow the advice of two of the greatest saints of your church that say that allows us to seek just revenge, both defensive and offensive wars to rectify injustice couldn't qualify. Tolerating serious injustice is an injustice. Isn't that a lot more mature thinking than yours, Leo? Pope Leo. And now the third one, right intention, intentio recta. See how Latin is so easy to understand? Authoritas principis, causus justa, and intentio recta. The belligerents must intend to advance good or avoid evil. Specifically, to pursue peace, to punish evildoers, and uplift the good. Even if authority and cause are present, a war becomes unjust if motivated by improper desires. The goal must align with charity and true peace. And then they have Yosin Bello, conduct in war, where they go on to limit what you can do, which Iran has, and also then can take action to prevent that, which Iran has completely ignited with its attacks on non-combatants. Explain to me how this doesn't fit into Augustine and Aquinas. They have spent more time attacking the UAE than Israel, and the UAE hasn't fired a shot at them. Right. The worst the UAE did is some American planes may have taken off from a base which is under the sole control of the United States of America. Now, notice they've done, if you add up all the attacks on the Arab countries, they're 2-1 on Israel. Well, when you say the president didn't apologize to the Pope, that's a close question. My respect for Bishop Barron is unparalleled, but it doesn't mean I have to agree with him. I don't agree with myself all the time. I think Bishop Barron was wrong here to say that the president should apologize. I think presidents apologizing is as significant an act as popes apologizing. And if there was going to be an apology, then the apology should go two ways. The Pope should apologize for misstating Catholic doctrine, or at least making available to us the other side of it. The Pope, in all candor and honesty, should have told us the other side of the argument. He was not announcing what is accepted church doctrine. And I don't mean doctrine in the sense of the magisterium, the infallible word of the successor of St. Peter and the representative of Jesus on earth. That's a small body of principles that are extremely sacred and extremely important. This issue on war, what constitutes just war, what doesn't, has never been put by any pope or any of the great saints and scholars of the church in that box. The Pope can easily confuse when he starts to make pronouncements like war is unjust. That many people who don't have the benefit of a big, deep Catholic education do not understand that he's not speaking infallibly when he does that. So Pope Leo XIV, with all due respect, you misled people. It's not my obligation, it's yours to make certain that the people of the world understand that what you said about war is your individual and Francis' individual opinion, supported possibly by many scholars. But then you've got to, these books weren't written for nothing, Pope. With all due respect, Thomas Aquinas is a little more respected a theologian than you are, at least at this stage of your life. And Augustine of Hippo, I would say, is also. It was your obligation to point out to the world that your opinion as the moral leader of the Catholic Church is opposed vehemently, strongly. I don't mean angrily. I mean right on, point by point, disputed by some of the greatest minds in the history of the Catholic Church and those who have already been admitted to sainthood. You may well be. You're not now. I say this with tremendous respect. And unbelievable sorrow. Unless you're going to do it completely and fairly, my brother in Christ, do it fairly. Be fair. It's hard when you get pushed so far left. You lose because it's a sick philosophy, the left. And it is completely at odds with the basic tenets of this great religion. And I'm speaking broadly now because I believe you have to literate Christendom, not just Christianity. I know a lot of Christians who disagree on that. But leaders of Christianity don't mislead. I do not think you did it on purpose. I'm sure of it. I read too much about you. I know too much about you. I've seen your brother and talked to him. You did not do this on purpose. You did this because you fell into the usual sloppiness of left-wing thinkers. You never think of the other side. And unfortunately, on the other side wasn't just Donald Trump, who you can push around as much as you want, or Rudy Giuliani, or all us, bunch of us right-wing, whatever we are. On the other side was two of the greatest saints of Christianity, not just Catholicism. Those other Christian churches owned them too, not just us. They're Episcopalian saints, and they're Lutheran saints, and they're Methodist saints, and in many evangelical churches, they're saints. And certainly Augustine is an Orthodox saint. I got to check on Thomas. He certainly is respected as a great theologian, as one of the Greek archbishops who went to Notre Dame would discuss with me. Respected as one of the great theologians of Christianity, including Orthodoxy. So let's calm it down, huh? This shouldn't be. You both are on the same side, ultimately. And we need you both because the extreme Muslims, which include many who are just reading the Quran as it's been left without serious amendment, because this is what Muhammad taught. This is what Muhammad led. This is who Muhammad is. Muhammad is not a perfect man, and Allah has absolutely no relationship to the Jewish and Christian concept of God. It has no relationship to our God. Doesn't even have a tree that comes from our God. It comes from the moon god of the pagan wanderers of the Arab desert, and was inserted exactly that way because Muhammad's father was named after the moon god. You got to tell people this. If you let them do it, they're going to do to America. Eventually, their goal is to do to America what it does to Lebanese Christians and Jews in Lebanon, or what they're doing to the ones in Africa. And by the way, Pope, you did speak out on Nigeria, and you're one of the only ones that have done it. The only one who's done it more vociferously than you is Donald Trump, who's become a defender of Christianity. More vociferous than you are. That shouldn't be that way. So maybe one way in which you can even the score is to credit him for having brought attention to Nigeria when over this Easter and Palm Sunday, they committed an enormous number of atrocities in Protestant and Catholic churches, killing about 40 people and wounding about 100 and taking possession of their property, all Christian, all done in the name of spreading the God of the moon. You can defend that? Your word is very, very powerful. And it's a very powerful church in Africa. And it's like the early church. They're martyrs. All those wars that we see on a map in Africa, they're all because these people believe in Jesus Christ. These people are dying for Jesus. We will take a short break. We'll be right back.
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because they like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans, no Robusto, all Arabica. They're going to go into the roaster and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee.
Are you ready for some action?
I'm ready for action.
Get the Elite TV plan only through the portal. 218 channels, and it's only $69.95 a month,
Wow.
including your free portal.
That's cheaper than everyone else.
Your favorite sports, movies, news,
Wow.
even daytime dramas. We're talking about ESPN, OAN, Newsmax,
Wow.
channels you can't get anymore in certain areas.
Compared to the competition, this is a way better deal.
Endless selection. Not to mention all the free music channels. There's over 700 premium and classic movies all ready to go.
Wow.
Plus, they got catch-up TV that allows you to go back and watch what you've missed or want to watch again. Cut your cable in half and get twice as much for free.
Way more channels for half the cost.
After the first year, the subscription then drops to $57.95 monthly,
Wow.
where you change or upgrade anytime. Go to QUXNow.com and get yours today. Use promo code Rudy. Act fast. These deals are selling out.
U.S. Army Major Scott Smiley paid a high price serving our nation. Scott was leading his platoon in Iraq when a blast sent shrapnel through his eyes, leaving him blind and temporarily paralyzed. Scott would become the first blind active duty military officer before medically retiring years later. Thanks to friends like you, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave Scott and his family a mortgage-free, specially adapted smart home. Show your support for America's heroes now. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. U.S. Army Major Scott Smiley paid a high price serving our nation. Scott was leading his platoon in Iraq when a blast sent shrapnel through his eyes, leaving him blind and temporarily paralyzed. Scott would become the first blind active duty military officer before medically retiring years later. Thanks to friends like you, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave Scott and his family a mortgage-free, specially adapted smart home. Show your support for America's heroes now. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. Having risked my immortal soul by disagreeing with the wonderful moral and I mean this, I'm not sarcastically at all, a Pope who I have great admiration for. And not only that, a tremendous connection to as an Italian-American, as a baseball fan, although it does show that he's not infallible on things other than faith and morals by being a White Sox fan. And I'm sure half of Chicago agrees with me on that, but certainly all Yankee fans do. That's a joke. I know the Vatican doesn't have a great sense of humor. That's a joke, guys. I don't know what kind of Italians you guys are. We usually have a great sense of humor, you know? And we're kind of, come on, don't start fights. And I'm not afraid of the Trump administration. Come on, Pope, what are you afraid of? We're not going to attack the Vatican. He might say that. I'm not sure. Just kidding around, he might say it, but he's my friend for 40 years. I know he wouldn't attack the Vatican. I don't know the Vatican ambassador right now, but when Calixa was the ambassador, nobody loved Rome more than her. And you know the way he loves Charles III, he loves you even more. He's just upset with you right now, and you're upset with him, and you're upset on something you have a right to be both upset about because it's not a matter of faith and morals. I just really think you should have explained that. It's your obligation to explain it. If you think he misled with that thing that he put out where everybody thinks he was mocking our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and he says that he saw, first of all, he didn't do it. Somebody else did it, and he looked at it. He says, I looked at it, I thought it was a physician, like an old ancient physician. Right. I look at it, it could, to me, I look at it, it could be either. I take him at his word. And I know he's a very deeply religious man in his own way. And that's why he's interdenominational. And he's always been a very deeply religious man, really, since he almost got killed. And he attributes it all to God and to Jesus. So this is an unfortunate misunderstanding between two very, very good people. But maybe both of whom should explain a little more, but I fear that if they explain a little more, it'll go more in a direction. But it really should go in his direction. The president should make, if you can, a little clearer that this was not intended in any way to offend. He certainly doesn't presume to want to be Jesus. Never say he would, doesn't. And there's nothing about him that would. And that his thing was to show how, look, there's almost even a joke between us. He did a lot of the suggestions when I had COVID. He took over my treatment in the hospital. He had the doctor, the White House doctor, who's a wonderful man, helped take care of me. And with Dr. Maria's help and my son Andrew, who both Andrew stayed with me for 70 straight hours. I came out of it like in remarkable amount of time. I had a very serious case. So the president will occasionally say with a little smile on his face, sometimes maybe not, I healed him. That's what he was showing. He also has done a lot of things like allowing a lot more access to medicines than we had. This is even the first term. There are people working for him whose lives he saved. He's not big on I know people, because he talks sometimes in a funny way big, they think he's not. He's actually the opposite. He's of the school of thought like George Steinbrenner, his good friend, and my good friend, our mutual friend. My friendship with Donald Trump really started as a mutual friendship because I was friends with George for about 5 years before I became friends with Donald Trump. George Steinbrenner believed, like the strict words of the Bible, you should not take credit for charitable works on earth, because if you did, you lost the credit in heaven. If you've had the credit already, you don't, why get it again? Which is a paraphrase of the words of the gospel, which all Christians, Catholic and Protestant, agree with. So they were very, very circumspect about their acts of charity. I know the press doesn't want to accept this. The press has a one-dimensional, horrible view that's got to be sinful. But in any event, that's the truth. So because this will not get a lot of attention, so we're going to give it a lot of attention right now as we sign off and send you over to Dr. Maria, who has an absolutely stupendous show tonight. It could be better than mine. Pay attention. This is censored news. For the fourth time, the Republican-led Senate has blocked measures effectively backing Donald Trump's ongoing military campaign in Iran. Operation Epic Fury, I guess, is the way we look at it, right? The Republicans, 53 of them, mostly voted against advancing the measure, supporting Trump's authority to continue operations. One Republican, Senator Rand Paul, voted in favor of the resolution. One Democrat, Senator John Fetterman, Democrat of Pennsylvania, voted against it. Senator Jim Justice did not vote in the latest tally, which is, I don't know, Jim Justice. Don't get angry at me, Jim. If you can't figure out how to vote on this, what the hell are you doing in the Senate? This is like being on a cliff. You got 1 second to decide. If you don't decide, the wind's going to knock you over and you don't decide. Democrats, having introduced and forced votes on these resolutions multiple times, March and April, cited concerns over lack of congressional authorization, risks of escalation, civilian casualty, U.S. service member deaths right now are 13, and economic impacts like gas prices have been voted down on all occasions. I don't know. This doesn't show congressional support for the war. I mean, we haven't had a declaration of war since the Second World War. This is about as good as you get. So stop this illegal war shit, huh? Cut it out. In any event, we'll be back tomorrow. We want you to go over to, right now, I want you to go over to TV. Which TV should they watch Marie on?
Lindell TV.
On Lindell TV, okay. On Lindell TV, and we'll spend the next 24 hours reading all 5 volumes of the Summa Theologica. Okay, all right, and you don't have to because we're going to read it for you. Okay.
Right.
We pray, dear God, that you help and save the people of Israel, the people of Iran, the people of Ukraine, all the people, and the people of the United States, that you bridge this gap between your successor on earth and the man whose life you saved to save our country, who is doing it, God, in good faith and in goodwill. And like all of us, he's a fallible human being. And sometimes maybe he doesn't say things right. Maybe he does, and people misunderstand him. But then when there's a chance to flesh them out and take a look at them and think about them in the light of day, this man has done miracles for us because of you. So keep him strong and save us from those who want to eliminate us. Save us who are Jewish, save us who are Christian, from the forces of those who want to eliminate us because we're Jewish and Christian. And teach them to love you, not a false God, a God of war and a God of death. We have love for them and we forgive them because you taught us that. Thank you. God bless America. It's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze. We are able to apply our God-given common sense. So let's do it.